And now, for your viewing pleasure, some wonderful extinct giants of the Cenozoic. If you thought organisms were large during the Mesozoic, you just wait. So during the Cenozoic, we have huge organisms like the giant ground sloth. That was 5.5 meters tall. That is over 15 feet tall for a ground sloth. We also have the giant Glyptodon, which was almost as tall as humans and kind of just like a huge armadillo. We also have what we call the terror bird, which was 3 meters tall. Right, so these huge organisms. Compared to humans, you can see in these pictures, a lot of these organisms could have quickly taken us out. So here's an example of a giant rodent. The largest rodent today is the capybara, and you can see just how much larger this guy was than the capybara. It was as tall as we were. We have this guy, which kind of looks like a cross between a dinosaur and a hippo and a giraffe, just monstrous. And this fella who is particularly unnerving. This is a snake, the Titanoboa, which could have eaten us. It was huge, up to 13 meters in length, right? So that's over 60 feet long. And then if you weren't afraid of this guy, there were also huge crocodiles. So this crocodile was 11 meters in length. Again, that's like over a 30-foot crocodile. Right now, all of these organisms were alive during the Cenozoic. Luckily for humans, they're no longer alive today. But let's talk about how they got so big. How did they get so big? Why were they so big? And this has been a really long-running debate. How mammals grew from these tiny shrew-like creatures during the age of the dinosaurs to being these huge behemoths that are now extinct but did live during the Cenozoic. Dr. Felissa Smith of the University of New Mexico in Albuquerque worked with a lot of her colleagues at mammalian fossils from around the world to see how the body size changed over time and to study what the maximum body size was at any given time. And they found out that the patterns replicated across space and time, which is just amazing, right? Meaning that this relationship between environment and size comes up over and over and over again. So we're pretty confident in this relationship. This relationship is, as explained by the co-author of that paper, Jessica Theodore, she says that basically the dinosaurs disappear and all of a sudden there's nobody else eating the vegetation. Right? All of the largest mammals were plant eaters, and it's more efficient to be an herbivore when you're big, right? So mammalian predators never grew to much more than a ton, about the size of a modern polar bear. Size can be a problem for predators, so it makes it easy for potential prey to spot and elude them. Okay? So plant eaters could get really, really big, because it's efficient to be a herbivore when you're big, but predators stayed fairly small, relatively, right? Because as a predator, it's easy for small prey to spot you if you're really big. Smith also thinks that temperature and energy probably set the upper limits, right? How big could these animals get? Well, it depends on temperature and energy. And this is because massive animals have a really hard time dissipating body heat in warm climates. The larger you are, the hotter you become, right? So even the largest megafauna, the largest animals, were not as big as the large dinosaurs. And Smith believes that dinosaurs could grow much, much larger because they generated less internal heat, right? So mammals, which generate a lot of heat, would just overheat ourselves if we were too big. Whereas dinosaurs, at least the big herbivorous dinosaurs, we don't think were warm-blooded, so they could get really big without overheating.